Dr. McCormick, tell us your steps on how you ended up coming here as a student, but then also coming back to teach.
Yeah, so coming out of high school, I didn't have a ton of direction, but I always wanted to play college sports. So I came out here to play football and then actually got injured, not in the football field. I can't tell you a cool story about a game that I got injured in. It was in a skiing accident that was actually hosted by the school after my first semester of football. Broke my femur, broke my pelvis, had a lot of physical therapy after that. And that's where God kind of led me down that road. At first I started studying psychology, but that led into really getting more into the rehab sciences and led me down the path to go to PT school.
And then, so you go to PT school and you get out. What comes after that? So
I started working in a clinic here in town doing some like sports ortho rehab. School after my DPT, I went to Texas Tech and got my doctorate of science in physical therapy, which allowed me to begin the process of considering being an educator. And that part of that story, which is really cool, like I love telling people, was at church we were going through this big thing on prayer, and it was all about like, you know, we want to see God use us to do big things, not for our glory, but for His glory. Start praying about what that would be. And I said, all right, Lord, if I could have my dream job, I'd go back to Hardin-Simmons and I'd get to teach. I'd get to teach in the program that trained me, that meant so much to me. 3 weeks later, I got a phone call to apply for the job. And I thought, well, I have no experience, you know, I'm still in the middle of my doctoral degree. But I mean, I believe that God's providence brought me into that position and allowed me to have the opportunity to do what I do now.
It's great to see how God kind of moves you and maneuvers you. You said you like to teach, whether as a PT, it sounds like most PTs are teachers. They teach an individual one-on-one how to do something better or not as dangerous. But then teaching in a classroom is a bigger thing. I mean, it's a lot of other folks. What is it that you love about Hardin-Simmons students, Hardin-Simmons PT students, about the teaching process?
I think one of the coolest things about our students is they choose to come to Hardin-Simmons more often than not because of the service learning opportunities. So they already have a heart to become great Christian physical therapists. It's a matter of they want to be excellent clinicians, but they also understand that there's a bigger, higher purpose for their lives. So we always talk about the gospel as part of what we do. We're trying to share Christ's love with people through physical therapy. And those students, they work very hard, but understanding that we're helping train them to be ministers of the gospel through physical therapy is one of the coolest things that I can say is one of the highlights of my job.
That's great. You and I went to Kenya one time, and you got to see Amboseli and all the amazing things that God's created. Has there ever been a trip that you said, man, this was my favorite thing, whether with your family or on your own? This was my best vacation, best trip I ever took.
I think something for me is the mountains. It's kind of interesting to look back at my life because having that really bad skiing accident, you'd think I wouldn't want to be up in the mountains or even go skiing ever again. But I definitely experienced God through that, but all kinds of different avenues through nature. I mean, amazing beaches, the mountains, you know, the plains of Kenya, getting to see, you know, giraffes and elephants crossing the road right in front of us. It's pretty unbelievable.
Is there one thing that you would do every single day for the rest of your life if you had a chance to do it? Can you name one thing?
Getting to do what I'm doing is that calling, it's that goal. I always tell people I have the dream job because for a long time when I was trying to kind of figure out where God was leading me, was it youth ministry? Was it education, like even being a coach and a teacher? Was it physical therapy? Was it psychology, counseling? I get to do all that. I literally get to do all that now with my job, and I kind of see how God took me through all those different things. Like, why did I get a degree in psychology as an undergrad? I was going to go towards counseling. I was going to get a PhD, but I see how all those pieces fit together to get to do what I do now.
Well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.